take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. Give it to me like I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna 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 take it down. Give it to me like, give it to me like, give it to me like, give it to me like.
They been on their ass, bitch, I'm on the rail. I wrap it, I bag it, I pack it for sale. Got feeling on speed out, I hit me to chill. I give it a thrill, I put it on film. Niggas facade, get applaud, that ain't real. Come to my section and flex, we can tell. I got a show and she dipping them nails. I'm flipping my L's, I know they can tell. I did it too major, they hit me for favors. Been him since the cable was cut in the cradle. What's up, only right that I do it. Colossal until I'm a boss, so they want me to fail. Look, we prevail. Tell them to point out who said that they run it. Bitch, I'm on your tail. Know that they talking, they telling them tales. Just know how to tell, that shit for the sale.
Honestly, I know it's hard to believe, but you have to trust me. It's got maximum taste and zero sugar.
Stop playing games, wooden boy.
No, I'm a real boy.
Pepsi Max. Maximum taste, zero sugar. Try and believe.
What do you see here? Maybe history, or maybe it's the future.
Amarti mi consola. Amami ancora, fallo
Tonelli plug-in hybrid, a new charge of sportiness.
Good evening, everybody. How are we doing? Mr. Flynn back at it again for Ultimate Masters, round number 9 at France today. I am very, very excited, and joining me today is a wonderful Mike, who will be with us in a few moments, getting a few more bits and bobs sorted in the background, so he won't be much longer, I promise you on that. But no, very exciting today. Lovely France. You got round about 2 DRS zones, and then followed by 15 turns, which is going to be quite interesting. Not really a tricky track to navigate through, so we should see a lot of overtaking opportunities and a lot of fast lap times coming in. And Mike, I am hearing you're back. How you doing? And what are you thinking for the lovely France today?
Yeah, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully everyone's having a fantastic Tuesday afternoon into the evening. And yes, we are going racing at the circuit Paul Ricard. And honestly, it's a track where it does promote a lot of good overtaking. Penalties can happen around here very easy, as the track can be a little bit techy, especially in terms of that exit through turn 2, obviously turn 3, the exit at turn 5, and then of course coming through the final sector where we can see so many back ends stepping out, especially for that infamous turn 12.
Exactly, and that's what I'm very, very excited for and cannot wait to watch and see. But we have got some big news. We've got 2, you could say, big news announcements. One of them we're going to talk about right now, and it's actually going to be the team standings. Of course, if you have a look after round number 8, CPI building their gap even further and even stronger, and X Esports managing to take over at Relentless for P2 in the constructors. X Esports on 237 points and CPI on 302 points. And tonight could be tonight where CPI will be champions as long as they don't get scored out by 9 points by X Esports. What are you thinking, Mike? Is that possible tonight? Or have CPI got a challenge as X Esports bounced back last week and actually delivered a really, really, really high standard and good result?
Well, I mean, this is what it's been like throughout the entire season. It has been a tale of 3 halves of the season. Obviously, Relentless early on, very dominant. Mid part of the season, CPI dominant. And now, towards the later stages, X Esports are starting to come into play here. And obviously, they have an opportunity to keep this championship alive. But literally, CPI, one hand on the title. Tonight, they could be taking the whole thing.
That is very, very true, and that's what I'm very, very excited to see. You know, we could be crowning the champion tonight. So, Mike, I hope, fingers crossed, you've got your calculations and your maths brain in gear, because I'm going to be asking you specifically, what's it going to be, what do they need to do, and basically, if they've won the championship, or if it's going to have to go to the next round and roll over to next week. So, yeah, we'll find out what happens. We're finally getting loaded in to the lovely lobby. Mike, I know I always say this, but who are you fancying to be on poll today, and which team and that? And just to let all you guys know as well, who are tuning in whilst watching us do commentating and you guys cheering your teams on, we are actually going to be in the player cars today, as I believe it's the real performance is kind of bugged with all the teams' cars and stuff like that. So we're using real player cars today. But yeah, Mike, like I said, who are you expecting on top and on that pole position?
Well, this is where things are going to get interesting. Obviously, what's called K-Gat and Volcano for CPI, a very, very strong pairing from both of the CPI drivers out there, and yeah, both of them are in the lobby. I'm looking to see obviously the multiplayer cars. I'm used to just looking at the F1 cars, but yeah, trying to work off this. Obviously, Gaiten being also another strong performer in qualifying. In terms of ERT, obviously I know this driver very well. I mean, used to be a part of the Red Dragon racing team, which of course used to manage, of course, Colin R. Mason, and he's usually pretty handy around Paul Ricard as well. So definitely one to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a few. Yulbream, Pease, Relentless putting a strong lineup out tonight to try and get themselves back into it. and there's a good 6, 7 drivers I think that could get pulled, but just based on the pace that we've seen throughout the season, it's hard to bet against the likes of Kgat and Volcano.
You know what? I wouldn't disagree with that because that is obviously and truly very, very true. Because one week it could be, CPI taking it away on pole position, but next week it could be Relentless, X Esports, or maybe just another team we don't really talk about, like, ERT. They could randomly be on pole position today because this isn't really a difficult track where you can make many errors. It's quite a simple technical track, really. So no errors should really be made, because I would say on this platform, it's not really a hard track to get confused and complicated with.
I mean, you say that, but Scott, around Circuit Paul Ricard, there's so many different layouts to the track.
That's true.
If you do not have that mini map open at the bottom and you were running no assist, you could find yourself taking a different line than what is actually going on track. I believe the first man out is Lions for LRN, so Van Lions out there first on track. So I think we jump on board with him and go for a flying up on Paul
Someone's
Ricard.
saying that forced cockpit camera's on.
To be honest, as long as it's not as bad of a start as what we saw in Brazil a few weeks
Just
ago.
having a quick look to see if there's going to be a lobby restart. Everyone's coming in, so I want to see what's actually going to happen. I know VJ's speaking in the chat now in Discord, getting all sorted, and we'll have an update very, very shortly. And yeah, retiring once lobby restart. So while we're waiting for the lobby to be back up again and get everything sorted, what do you think, Mike? Shall we talk about the second big announcement, or should we leave it till the end of the stream, or is it worth getting it done just now as there's a bit of time to crack on with it? What do you think? What do you say? And what do you think?
I mean, I think we should put that question to the chat and let's see what they're saying.
Yeah. What do you guys think? Shall we maybe tell you what's happening with the second big announcement? Like, would you guys like to know now? Or do you want to know, like, until the end of the stream? Like, what are you guys' suggestions, and what are you thinking? Please let us know. And if you guys want to see it, then we'll talk about it and show you. But I am being told there's going to be rain as well in the race.
I think they'll completely get restarted because obviously... It's the beginning of qualifying, but yeah, I mean, in terms of the announcement, let's get a little bit of a viewer engagement on that and see what everyone's saying as we are waiting for everyone to retire on track. Obviously, you got M Van and Peas in the pit lane, and we got Gaiden and the Johnny Damon, who's just retired right now, out on track. So
I want to see what kind of lap time Gaiden does. You guys can't see this, but I want to kind of see what kind of lap time he can do in that forced cockpit camera. And he's up to the line now. What's he going to do? Is he going to be a 129? Whoa.
196.
That's pretty impressive in cockpit camera. Maybe we should enable it for next season, Kappa, and see how many drivers, make it across the line with navigating around the track. If they can. But no, it's always got to be the way of EA, messing up an update and breaking the equal performance cars. Because I've been hearing that apparently it's not Red Bull, it's the sister team AlphaTauri that's the fastest car on the game now. What do you think of that, Mike? The team swapping engines and aero and making Alpha dominant.
I mean, I can't lie. It's hard to say anything about it without, calling a certain company out. You know what I mean? For a bit of incompetence there, but Yeah, it's so bad that every single time you have an update, it messes up something else.
Yeah, I mean, it does happen to games, this does happen, but it's a bit, it's kind of silly that happens every single time there's an update. But to be honest, even though, and I'll tell you this now, even though there's been a slight error and a slight mix-up of an update's come through and it's caused this bug and it's caused that bug, I'll be honest with you now, Mike, at least, I believe, when I played a game with EA, and it's F1 related, I believe they're the first ever, company or game developers that will always have a solution, because we always have the player cars in the background. So at least we've got a solution, I guess. I mean, that's not too bad, is it?
I mean, it's not
50-50.
bad, but it's a 50-50 one. Obviously, in team events, yeah, it's not too bad because most teams do have their own custom multiplayer cars and that they've all set up and everything to match the colors of their teams. But in terms of just general league racing, it completely messes things up for them.
Yeah, that is true, because it will slightly make us struggle tonight to see which team is driving which car. And obviously, for example, if someone's in a Williams team but they're in a player car, it could be a little bit harder to identify where the driver is and what team they're racing for. So yeah, we'll see how we go. And I'm looking in that division chat now, and I'm being told, don't forget the full wet. So maybe we're expecting a full wet race. If we are, Mike, how's that going to pan out for today's race? Drivers tackling the wet conditions. It could be heavy rain. And is it quite tricky at France? Or once again, is it, obviously, if you have racing line off and you don't know where you're going, if you get a bit lost. But is it one of those tracks where it's raining, but it's not a difficult track to navigate in the wet, if that makes sense?
Oh no, it is a very difficult track in the wet. I mean, I mentioned about the traction zones earlier. They're bad enough in the dry. In the wet, it's a whole different kettle of fish. Obviously, corners like turn 6 and 7, just before you come down the Mistral Straight, which is obviously a DRS straight. That corner can become an absolute nightmare in wet conditions because the back end will just step out on you for no reason whatsoever.
That is true. I didn't think of that. I know we do get some back end losses, like in Sector 1. That tricky part, turns 1 and 2, where the back end can randomly just, snap out, if that makes sense, if you know what I mean. But I'm trying to think now. Maybe could you get a random rear of the slide when you go to turn 10 to turn 11? I know there's a right banker down to 12. Could that also be a possibility of touching or tapping that curb ever so slightly and then spinning your car around? Is that a possible chance? Because, to be honest, I've not really done any commentating around this race track on this game yet. So is it possible? Because I don't know if you've done any racing around here before.
I mean, I have, but on previous game cycles, so I haven't done anything on this cycle. Obviously, turn 10 in the wet, you're usually okay unless there's a fundamental issue with the setup with the back end will just step out on you, because you are going to have to lift off for that corner in the wet conditions. Through turn 11 and turn 12 now, obviously the rear lock-in on this game is a lot bigger than what it has ever been on any other game that I've played on so far. So I'm expecting a lot of issues with the rear lock-in in these wet conditions. Down into turn 8 as well, into the chicane. That's a big zone. Into turn 1, that's a big zone. Obviously, turn 12, it's already a difficult corner as it is. Rear lock into that could cause a lot of incidents.
That is very true, and obviously we don't want that, We don't want drivers to be spinning around, but it does, create somewhat content, Someone's in P1, and say they've got, a 5, 6, possibly a 10-second gap in the wet conditions. That does possibly mean that they could spin around, and that could be their chances gone. So, I'm trying to be a debatable decision, I don't know if we're seeing all over what season, Mike, but what team in particular would be quicker and better in the wet conditions? Because looking through the grid quickly, I'm not really 100% sure, because I can't remember which team I was rooting for in wet conditions? I know there's some drivers in different teams which are like phenomenal. They're like absolutely fantastic in wet conditions. I don't know if it was like X Esports or CPI. I can't remember if it was Ariel Bream in the Red Bull team. You know, I think it was him. I think it was that team. I think it was Ariel that their drivers are quite decent and pretty darn well good in the wet. What about yourself?
I mean, in terms of the wet conditions, it's definitely going to be interesting to see which team comes out on top. Obviously, ideally, just for us as spectators, we do want the championship to go down to the final race of the season.
Oh yeah, we
so
do. Yeah.
we were. I mean, as much as you don't want to wish it on any team, we kind of hope the CPI have an absolute stinker tonight.
That is true, you know, they could be leading a 1 and 2, you know, like back at Qatar, they were leading a dominant 1 and 2, you know, helping each other out, defending from the Aston Martin crew and bits and bobs like that. But maybe they could snatch a 1-2 and stuff like that, and we'll see what happens. But if they lose it, if their rear end starts locking and they tumble down the order, that could be them done and dusted. And something that I forgot to mention myself, obviously because we do some lovely race notes before we start the stream, and the help from VJ as well, that I believe it's going to be LNR taking a bit of a hefty qualifying ban today. So maybe that could be a bit of a differ and a bit of a buffer if they're fighting for a team in the constructors about that. Mike, what do you think about that?
Well, I mean, LRN have had a couple of good performances so far this season. And obviously, they are currently P8 in the standings on 119 points. They are only 5 points behind the ERT. But you've got Optic Racing Team that are only 14 points behind. And obviously, in this championship, 14 points is nothing.
That is true.
It's absolutely nothing.
And what's crazy is, you know, we had this new team, which I keep going on about, Optic Racing, right? I thought they've come into the sport with Ultimate Masters halfway through the season. They're probably going to score a few points. But can you imagine Optic Racing coming in and they're already fighting in the constructors? They could possibly fight with NLR. They could compete if they get a really good result today and obviously for the final round of the season. Is that possible? Could they go up a few more places, maybe a 1 or 2 places? Is that possible, Mike? I'm not too sure. What would you think on that as well, of Optic, speaking about them?
I mean, as I said, like, it's not in terms of the points now. 14 points is absolutely nothing in this championship. We both know that. Obviously, they're 14 points behind LRN, which is of course 19 points now behind ERT, and that's for Optic Racing Team, not LRN. But 19 points again is nothing. They are 43 points behind NLR, so that does seem like a bit of a stretch. It's not impossible, but it is a bit of a stretch. And of course, NLR. Team Velocity and TTL are in a very tight battle where there's only 6 points separating those 3 teams.
That is very true, but I guess we'll find out what happens today. A very nice dry qualifying at the moment as drivers are now leaving the pit lane, as I can see on my screen. So we've got maybe 1 or 2 drivers up to leave and set a lap time. But what I would like to know, are these qualifying lap times going to be done and dusted with, you know, like a low wing setup, or is it going to be done with a wet setup, if you know what I mean? Because obviously drivers want to be quick in a straight line, as there's massive straights here at France, but are they opting for the wet setup type, would you say?
Well, I think it would be a bit naive for drivers to be not preparing for the wet conditions. Because obviously, we saw what the race conditions were looking like for the race, and we're talking 5 of the 7 scenes for the weather having rain involved. So you're going to be on the wet tire for at least 20 laps, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's very true. And as we saw at Singapore last week, yeah, it kind of rained like a lap or 2, and then it was fully wet, and that was an absolute dramatic climax towards the end of the stream. Like, I was in shock. I was just like, oh my goodness, this could be a great finale, but the Inter just wasn't close enough to steal the win, because if they stole the win, in the wet conditions. They went for the right strategy. Can you imagine that, like, big brain IQ play they would have done? Like, can you imagine that, Mike, if they went from the back of the grid to P1, if they had a few more laps? Like, how crazy would that be before ending at Singapore in the wets when everyone's on the dry tyres?
It would have been an incredible ending. Unfortunately, the track just didn't dampen up quick enough for the Inters to really be the optimum tyre to be on. We got Casanova about to be the first man to get underway for a lap. Do you want me to take us through a lap of Circuit Paul Ricard?
Yeah, feel free to. Off of you, Mike. Down to you.
Okay, so running down the start-finish straight, DRS wide open as we head down in towards turn number 1. Braking, taking a lot of that inside curve, because it really does open up turn 2, where of course it can be tricky to lose the back end there if you take too much curve. In towards turn number 3 now, where you want to be attacking the curves through 3 and trying to get yourself hooked up nicely for 4 and 5. Now through the right-hander of turn 6, where it's so easy to lose the back end of the car. But it looks like Casanova has done well there. Through turn 7, down the Mistral straight with DRS wide open once again. And this is usually where we'll be seeing a lot of DRS overtakes happen in towards the chicane of turn 8 and 9. But of course, in wet conditions, it's going to be difficult to get the overtakes done. You need a good run out of turn 6 and 7. But a good run there for Casanova as we head up towards turn 10. The flat out right-hander, and of course full commitment there in the dry. Of course, in the wet conditions, there will be a lift off. Now into 11, where is a late apex to try and get yourself through. Now into turn 12, once again a late apex being hit by Casanova, and that's going to open up in towards turn 13. Now into 14, where we're going to have to keep an eye on people making sure they use the pit lane entry correctly through 14 and now through 15. DRS wide open once again for Casanova, and that is a full lap around this 5.8 kilometer circuit of the Circuit Paul Ricard.
Yeah, 129.4. A very good start there for Casanova. Let's go on board with, I believe it was K-Gat to set hopefully a second or first competitive lap time, but the second driver to set a lap here at Paul Ricard. So right now, going to be in the lovely Sector 3, now up to 14, and then the final corner of 15, where you got to get a very sharp in apex, you could say, and then obviously DRS open ups for you, and he's going to get a nice toe actually to the start and finish straight. So what's his lap time going to be? Is it going to be a competitive lap time? Is it going to be pole position? And it is already the first driver to physically be in the 128.8, and that's a mega lap time there, as Luke's crossed the line at 129.7. He goes, and then I believe that was Colin going above his teammate of Luke, doing a 129.5, and then Jackie Boy, love that name by the way, a 129.5. So drivers quite marginal and quite close in the 129s, but can anyone challenge K-Gat in the 128s, do you think, Mike? Is it possible? Can anyone on the track be going faster? Say that, I mean, Nick, very close.
I mean, this is the prediction that I said at the start, and it's hard to bet against the CPI drivers because it's so good in qualifying. It's all going to be about how they handle the wet conditions in the race.
Yeah, 100%. I can agree with you on that one. As Johnny in Sector 2, I think it blipped purple on my screen. So could Johnny be contender, Mike? Because could he be? I'm not too sure. I mean, we've not really seen a lot of Johnny this season, you know, being in like the top 5, or like top 3. But could he be? Could he be a contender? He's quite quick. He looks like he's on a flyer. Fingers crossed. Hopefully, no curses, as we do quite a lot on the channel. But we don't talk about that, do we, Mike? We don't talk about that. We're not responsible for that.
Yeah, absolutely. We're not responsible for any cursing or anything that goes on as Johnny Damon goes on to P10. And honestly, it's another driver that I know pretty well. Of course, another former RDR driver. So I have 2 former drivers that were part of my old esports team that are in this race. So I have good knowledge on the pair of them, Colin and Johnny.
That's good to hear. So I bet you'll be rooting for them in the background. I was actually on board with Bream down in P17, not yet to set a lap time. He currently, unfortunately, invalidated, I believe, around 3, 4, and 5, which isn't ideal. But obviously, Bream's still got 11 minutes in this qualifying session to get a lap in or 2 with how many lap times he wants to do. Potentially, I think everyone on the grid is going to use every single soft tyre they can possibly use. Probably use a for 3 sets of softs, as it's a wet start to the race, so why not use your advantage and try and get position on the track if everyone's using a wet downforce setup. But we'll find out what happens as Gio's coming around at number turn 15. DRS is going to be open on that lovely F1 car, shall we say, lovely player car as well. I love the basic colours. That's what I love about the game. People come up with their own ideas, basic colours. He goes P3, a 1:29.0, and that's a very close lap time to the 28s, as I believe Frank is the second driver to marginally, just slightly, get into the 1:28.9, which is a lovely lap time there. But let's see what CPI can do, Obviously, Volcano on an outlap now, not yet to set a lap time. And did the other CPI driver set a lap time? I don't believe he did he? Was he not here today?
Yeah, K-Gad.
Oh yeah, K-Gad, sorry, I'm getting myself a bit confused now. I think tiredness is kicking in again, shall I say, Mike? We won't go into full detail, shall we? And I think Jeter's on lap as well. Do you want to finish his lap up, Mike?
Yeah, Gaiden coming down into the chicane now of 8 and 9. It's looking like a good first sector and a clean chicane there for Gaiden. He's going to get a bit of a toe down in towards the middle sector split, a 49.2 in the middle sector, which is almost a full second up on the Johnny Damon's middle sector time. So that gives you an indication of roughly where he is right now in terms of a lap time. It's around Francis and Gio's lap time currently, but he could find a little bit more in the final sector just to get him ahead of K-Gad. Of course, XE Sports in a good opportunity to not only pull further ahead of Relentless in the battle for P2, but to keep the championship battle alive. As Gaiden now, DRS wide open to the line will come the XE Sports driver. Is this going to be enough for provisional pole? It is, with a 28.4, absolutely smashing it.
Yeah, that was a mega lap time there. Gaiden, he needed to do that, and so far, he's making XE Sports proud and bringing that championship fight on. So, would you say there's a bit of pressure on Volcano then to perform as he possibly can, like his best performance yet, for CPI to possibly take the championship today, Mike? Would you say he's under a bit of pressure?
Obviously, there's going to be pressure on both K-Gad and Volcano here in this race, but the thing is that they have such a lead right now. Like, unless they both have absolute horror show races, they're both still going to be in a good position when it comes to the final round of the season. So there's a bit of pressure to just get wrapped up here tonight, but obviously they have such a lead that the pressure's a little bit relieved in that sense.
I mean, yeah, I can actually understand your point there. So we'll see what happens, shall we, tonight? As I've ride on board with a Volcano for nearly a whole lap here, and he's gone purple in both sectors. So this could be the quickest lap time we're about to see now, as he's up to the line actually with DRS enabled. Is it going to be the fastest lap time? And it is a 1:28.3 flying on that track. So CPI at the moment, P1 and P4, they're scoring high points, but Gaiden in P2 at the moment for XE Sports, not doing bad. And then P's coming out of nowhere for REL and going P3. So the track's starting to ramp up and starting to get a little bit hotter, and Truck Grabber starting to burn in on the track as well. And driver's about to find a lot more time and get in those 1:28s and not the 1:29s is what we're seeing right now.
Yeah, and obviously that's a big lap from Relentless P's there, getting himself up into P3. He's in the mix on board with K-Gad. K-Gad a 10th up in the first sector, which of course right now is good enough to get him ahead of Luca as he gets a little bit of a slipstream on. Oh my god, almost goes into the back. I believe that's Volcano there, but it worked out well for him. A little bit deep on the entry into the chicane. That definitely would have compromised him just a slight bit, but the slipstream would mean that he hasn't really lost a huge amount of time. There we go, 2 temps up. That's good enough right now to get him ahead of Pease. Needs to find more in the final sector as he tries to get himself onto the front row ahead of Gaiden and make it a CPI 1-2 in qualifying.
Yes, indeed, and he's absolutely flying. And one thing we forgot to mention at this track is that DRS is so super effective on the straights if you're draining the battery within qualifying and getting a tow from your teammate or whatever car is on the grid, getting that tow and DRS and ERS, it's so powerful, and you can gain so much time. Here comes K-Gat across the line for CPI, and he goes on to provisional P3 at 128.5 and puts himself ahead of Pease, who's currently in P4. So not bad, shall we say, not bad. But I'll tell you what is bad so far. Bream, he's struggling down in P17. He keeps invalidating on his lap times. So not a great start for himself. But hopefully, with a few more minutes to go, with 5 minutes remaining, hopefully Bream can find some hefty lap time to put themselves back in the championship fight, potentially with X Esports. But like I say, it's probably going to be the majority of you qualify now, and that could be your finishing position if we're in wet conditions. But you never know, because we are waiting to see what drivers are better in the wets, and my bet it's going to be REL and probably not CPI today, if I had to put bets down, because I've seen Bream, I've seen K-Gap. They are very quick in the wet conditions. Very quick.
Well, I mean, K-Gat obviously representing CPI tonight. Another thing to also keep an eye on is both for the X Esports drivers. You got Gaiden currently on an outlap, about to get his lap underway. He's currently P2, but his teammate Luca is there in P5, so he's there to back up his teammate as well.
Yeah, I mean that is true. Yeah, not a bad idea actually, but we'll just see what happens. I'm a bit scared, but also excited, because wet conditions, it can mean a lot. It can mean a lock-up at turn 1 and causing a few problems here and there. Could cause a few, tears or emotions. But I guess we just have to wait patiently and just wait for the race to start and see what happens on lap 1 and see who's ahead and, what's going on.
Yep, Sector 1, Gaiden marginally up on his first sector split, 0.006 of a second. It was a very smooth turn 6 and 7 for him, but see what the chicane is looking like for Gaiden. Cutting a lot of the inside there through turns 8 and of course through 9. Getting good traction on the exit as well. Let's see what the middle sector split is saying, and he's actually down on his time, so it was smooth, but it wasn't the quickest.
Really? Damn. Well, let's see what kind of lap time he can do then, shall we? And see what he can finish as.
Yep, coming through turn 12 now, 4th gear, the gear of choice here for Gaiden. Using all of the exit curb that he possibly can, maximising the track limits, and he's bailing out back into the pits.
Maybe you said he had that slight moment on his lap time. You thought, you know what, I'm not going to put it down because it'd be a waste to get it done, but he's got one more opportunity now. I've just realised we've flown through this qualifying session. 2 minutes remaining, so we're having a very good time so far. I'm enjoying myself so far at France, but I don't know if I'm looking forward to the race, because I don't know how it's going to pan out on lap 1. We could see a few lookups in the wet conditions. That's all I'm very scared of, Mike. I don't know about yourself, but that's what I'm scared about. As Casanova goes P7 with a 1:28.9. That could be their qualifying done and dusted, unless they've got more fuel for one more lap, and they've just got to regain that battery charge and see how they get on, as the track is now going to get very, very busy.
Nah, I can confirm that Casanova does not have the fuel to go for another run, so I think that's his qualifying session over and done with. He's into the 28s, and you can't ask too much more than that in this field. But here's an opportunity for the likes of TTL Nick, for Gio, for Matthias Roma, for Dust Wessel, for Colin to really get ahead of you.
Exactly. So, final bits of qualifying to get done and dusted. Who is going to take pole position, Mike? Who are you going for? Who's your bets? Go on. What team or driver? What are you thinking? There's a massive gaggle of cars there at 3 and 4. Absolutely crazy right now. Drivers trying to push as hard as they can to make sure they get across that line in time. But who are you thinking for pole position? Who are you thinking?
I think it's going to be Volcano retaining pole position, and I think Gaiden will join him on the front row.
Oh, okay, yeah, it's not a bad idea. I might have to agree with you and go with what you've just said, because I can see them two near the top 2 or top 3, but maybe X Esports will surprise us. Let's see what happens as Gio's about to cross the line, and he's going to go to... Oh, he's going to actually stay P9 and only improve by 95 thousandths of a bang-on 129.0 on the dot, shall we say. More drivers coming across the line now to start that lap time. So let's find out who we should go on board with. Maybe Bream, yet to set a lap time, Mike. Do you want to take us on board with him?
Yep, Bream coming through turn 2 now, using a lot of the curb. He has managed to keep it valid this time around, but now we go into turn 3. Not attacking the curbs as much as what you would have hoped, but given the lack of confidence with the fact that he has invalidated almost every single lap so far, you can understand Bream being a little bit hesitant with attacking these curbs. Confidence maybe not there for the relentless driver, but DRS wide open as he runs down the Millstone straight in towards the chicane, turn 8 and 9. Still all valid as he gets very wide on the exit there, and that definitely will have compromised him, but we'll see what the middle sector split is in. 49.3 is a decent middle sector. It is definitely on course to get himself into the top 10 without a doubt, but can he get himself up into the top 5? Can he back up his teammate Pease here, who's currently in P4? Still a valid lap time so far from Bream as he comes through turn 12, using all the track possible through that corner.
He is indeed. He's getting there very, very shortly. Turn 15 now.
And now for the final corner. Bit of a lock-up, but now to the line it will come. Bream. Is he going to get himself ahead of Luca as he comes to the line? He goes up into P4.
Wow. That's impressive, as multiple drivers like Roma across the line, P8 for them, a 128.9. But can anybody else improve?
Oh, Giga.
Wow, that is a mega lap time, a 128.2. Anybody else? Volcano has invalidated on their lap time. Are they going to be safe? Oh.
Gaiden to the line now. He has a little bit of a toe up ahead. Is it going to be enough for Gaiden? Cross the line, and he gets onto the front row, but it's not enough to get ahead of K-Gat. What about Pease? Pease to the line. Can he get himself up there? No.
Wow. Now that was fantastic. What did you think of that then, Mike? Explain. What do you think of that? Like, oh my goodness. Wow. Wow.
I'm wondering if Volcano sacrificed his final run to get Gaiden up there, to get K-Gat up there. But I'll run you through the order now of qualifying real quick. So it is K-Gat who takes pole position by over a 10th ahead of Gaiden for X Esports, who will join him on the front row. Then of course we got Volcano in P3 with Frankus in P4, Yobream in P5 and Pease in P6, and all relentless third row. Luca for X Esports in 7th, with Matthias Roma in 8th. Then we got Casanova in 9th, and TTL Nick rounded out the top 10. Outside the top 10 we have Gio, Das Wessel, Colin R. Mason, Luke, Jackie Boy, the Johnny Damon, Gazano, and M. Vans Lion, bringing up the rear of the grid.
Well, there we have it. Fantastic walkthrough, shall I say, that you've done there through the whole entire grid. But maybe Volcano did sacrifice his lap time to help his teammate out, which is really good team play, as we all know that Volcano has the pace in the dry conditions. But what about the wet? And I'll tell you what, Mike, is that looking like Inters or is that looking like wets? What are we thinking here? I'm not seeing any puddles on the pit lane, but what are you thinking? I'm thinking Inter.
That's definitely an intermediate tyre. If you look into the garage, the first garage in the bottom right-hand corner, you can see a set of intermediate tyres right there ready to go. That's the big indication right there. There's going to be the intermediate tyres. Obviously, a little bit of eagle eye spotting there here in the commentary box, and this is the privilege that we get sitting here in the commentary box, because we get to see the tyres and everyone else gets to guess what tyres everyone's on. But intermediates, looks like it's going to be the tie at the start, and obviously the rain is not coming down as heavy as what we've seen in the first abandoned race. So
True.
everyone will feel a little bit better about that. Maybe the dry setup, maybe a little bit better in these conditions compared to a full wet setup. We'll have to wait and see. And honestly, this is going to be about who has the best setup to get through Sector 1 and Sector 3. Obviously, Sector 2, you do need a bit of straight.
Oh.
Really, your time is going to come through 3 and 1 as we go to those 5 red lights. So I'll let you guys underway.
Alright then, so 5 red lights here at the lovely Circuit of France. And it's going to be lights out and... Oh, someone's got a drive-through, now I've got a safety car. Oh no. Oh dear. Do you think it's going to be a restart, Mike, or is it not? What are you thinking? Oh no.
I don't know. We'll have to keep an eye on the Discord for that one.
Maybe...
It's an interesting one.
It shouldn't be. I mean... I'm trying to think now because Gaz P9, like, it's a hard one, isn't it? Because safety car, but he did jump the start, so maybe he might get away with that if there's a restart. But we'll see what happens. Apparently we've been told to leave it, but it should actually come back in with a lap or two actually. This normally, I don't know why, but this normally happens like in the wet conditions, which is a bit weird. So I don't know if it's like in the game files it's meant to happen, but that was 5 red lights and someone get a drive-through penalty, and then only even start off the top 2, but then a safety car. So there we are. There we are. A rolling start.
Yeah.
Fashion.
Honestly, it is something that we are used to in real life, F1, when it comes to these kind of conditions. Obviously, they will have the safety car lead out for a couple of laps just to get everyone racing once again. So we will see what happens. P said he lost places at the start, but he's currently in the same place that he was in. So I think P's is doing a bit of whinging for the sake of whinging, let's say.
Yeah, and as VJ's saying, it is actually in the Discord. It is a realistic thing. So, to be honest, if it's not back in with 3 laps, then we might have to look in a restart. But there's a few drivers taking positions under safety car, probably giving positions back to make it fair and square on the track. Someone's actually in the pit lane.
Yeah, yes, I know, because obviously he jumped the start and he was up 8 places, so
yeah,
he was the only one.
I don't think it's not going to serve it. It's not going to serve it under safety car, is it? If it's on a drive-through penalty, he's going to get a 7 new winters.
Yeah, I think what he's doing there, he's going to the back because obviously he qualified in 17.
That makes sense now. Yeah.
And yeah, he's trying to get back into his grid position. Obviously, Luca's come in as well. Possibly.
Are you seeing the tyres? There's 3 drivers on the wet tyres.
I am not here to judge.
It's interesting though. I mean, I'm not, dissing anyone, but is that because there's heavy rain on the way? If it is, then I mean they've made the right strategy call. Like Luke boxing for those wets, that's a bit interesting. But I guess we'll see what happens, But when they catch up, which won't be long now, the safety car, realistically, it should be in within this lap. I'll tell you this now, it will be in this lap. If it's not, then it might be an odd one. Because obviously we've done, what is it? We've done 1 lap under safety car. Then it's this is the 2nd lap. So it should be in 3rd time lucky? Correct?
Yeah, I mean, 3rd time's the charm, as they say, when it comes to bits of luck in life. They usually say 3rd time's the charm. Hopefully, we'll be getting going now to begin lap 3. Safety car is still out, which is a little bit concerning.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say give it one more lap. One more.
Honestly, considering how slow the safety car is actually driving around the track right now, honestly, I have to consider whether they have managed to get the infamous driver known as Ivor Bin Mike in that safety car, because he is driving absolutely horrendously slow right now.
Yeah, that is very, very true. Let's see what happens. Looking through the grid. Ooh, drivers almost going to the back of each other, which is quite close. I did see that. That was a scary moment. That's caught up on the stream. But the safety car should be in this lap as Gaza back in the pit lane once again.
Again, I think he's putting himself to the back, like trying to make sure he's putting himself to the back. Which I think, you know, it's fair. It's good.
They're going for wet tyres. Sorry to cut in, but they're going for wet tyres.
Yeah. Yeah, so we got 4 drivers right now on the wet compound tyres, as of course Gio, the Johnny Damon, ERT, Luke, and Gazzano all on the wet tyres. Everyone else on a set of inters. The track does look borderline, in my opinion.
Does it really?
It looks borderline between full wets and full inters.
Damn. Well, I guess we'll wait patiently and, you know, see what happens, shall I say. We shall see what happens and wait for, you know, further info. But we're now coming up to Sector 3, when normally the safety car should be called right about now. Please. There it is. Thank goodness.
Yes.
We get some lovely racing action.
Safety car is coming in at the end of this lap, so KGAT will control the pace. But interesting in terms of the tyre selection for drivers on the wet tyres. How are they going to get underway here? Because the rain actually does look like it's coming down heavier now.
It does, doesn't it? It does look like it's coming down heavier. So maybe the drivers going to the wet tyres to make the slight better gamble. But we'll see what happens on this restart as KGAT in P1, followed by Guyton behind in P2, and then Volcano in P3. A rolling start here at France. A bit of a different way to start the race, but we're just going to wait patiently for the safety car to go into the lovely pit lane and then wait for KGAT to react and go. And has he gone? And I think he's gone. I think he's going. He's going a little bit faster than he normally would under the wets, under a restart. And that rain does seem to be coming down a lot heavier. So as we get going for racing speed once again at Ultimate Masters, on lap number, you could say 4 now. No more safety car, thank goodness. And Bream looking quite close for P4, trying to contend for P4, as there's a bit of a slide there for Frank. So he's feeling the pressure already, as Wessel contending for P11, but then you've got Gio trying to fight back for P12, and drivers on the restart struggling slightly on those intermediates. So maybe, Mike, just maybe, you could be right here, as the rain is intensing here in France, and people could be struggling on those intermediate tyres. I think you're right. The rain is definitely increasing right now.
Yeah, and Colin trying to send one down the inside there. Gio got caught a little bit napping, and Gio loses the back end there and loses out another spot. And here comes his teammate, the Johnny Damon, going to try and get through on Gio here. And look at the puddles heading down the Millstone Straight. Yeah. It is getting to that point as
who goes Lions?
Vans.
Through went Lion up the through the middle there, the straight on the exit of 7 down to 9 and 8. But that was impressive there. But maybe are they struggling on those inters as they're draining the battery? Could we see anyone potentially in the pit lane? If we could, what driver is going to be ahead on those wets? It looks like Gio could be leading the way on lap, you could say, number 5 if the rain is increasing. But KGAT, he's coming up to turns number 13, 14, 15 now. Is he going to be into the pit lane? He's not. He's staying out. And everybody else is staying out. And there's a yellow flag. Someone, I believe, is round. And there is. It's Luke down in P18 now on those wet tyres. But no one's in the pit lane just yet. So are those wets coming into play as Guyton across the line, a 1:42.7, the fastest driver on the track right now. After the restart, on to lap number 5 we go.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, looking at the wet tires, I mean, they are losing time to the top runners. Obviously, if the wets are the better tires to be on, we should be seeing them close up on the likes of KGAT. They are still losing time, so they're still marginally intermediates. But it won't be that way for much longer, in my opinion, as Jobim gets through on Frankis. Up in the P4 goes the relentless driver.
Yeah, I mean, Breen making up positions. Like I say, he's quite a quick driver when it comes
here comes
to the wet
Frankis
positions.
back at
but
him.
he's coming back, actually. I didn't realise that.
Oh, and in behind Luca and Pease.
Oh my god, there's content everywhere. I can't keep up with it. Look at that was Luca, aggressive on the exit. And hello, here goes Franks getting a better exit than Bream and takes back P4 as Nick gets a 5-second time penalty for corner cutting. Hopefully that's not a game glitch. If it is, then he'll have to file a report and hopefully get that removed. But the rain is increasing here at France by quite a bit now. Drivers fighting quite a lot, and Luca might get past Bream here. Bream's starting to struggle a little bit on those tyres, it looks like.
Yeah, potentially. Obviously, we've had a request in chat to show the tyres. Obviously, generally we will occasionally show the tyres, but obviously we don't tend to keep them up all the time.
Hang on a minute, someone's in. Volcano's in. Volcano is in the pit lane.
This will be big. This will be telling for Volcano.
Is it
but yeah,
tyres?
for everyone,
I think it is.
for everyone in the chat wanted to know about the tyre compound. Obviously, we've got 3 drivers in the pits right now, but the bottom 4 are all on the wet compound tyres. Everyone else on Inters. And we will be seeing in just a moment what tyres everyone else goes on to, and it
Wet
is
tyres.
fresh wet for everyone else. So
Fresh wet tyres.
there you go.
This could be a thrilling, exciting race, couldn't it be? Because now Gio could be in provisional P1 at this moment of time, and CPI of Volcano down in P14. And you got the likes of Guyton and KGAT as well. So when are they going to box? Are they going to risk it and stay out a little bit longer?
I mean, I'm going to say this right now because obviously we mentioned them earlier about being a new team into the season and how they've gone and if they can get any positions and that. As it technically stands right now, if everyone ahead does come into the pits and put on a set of wet tyres, it will be an ORT 1-2.
Oh, will it? Oh, yeah, it would actually, wouldn't it? I just realised that it would be. It would be an ORT 1-2, so that'd be a good result for the team if they managed to hold out and fend off to the end of this race. But look at the gaps on the drivers trying to push. Look at Gio down in P12.
Look at these conditions. My God, it's honestly, it is. Like, I can't lie, it's been like this today for me in Wales, and I am very used to conditions like this, but my God, Jobim gets a little bit out of shape. He's on the curb, and he's in the wall. Jobim around, loosen out massively there.
My goodness.
Into the pit lane goes everyone. Yellow flag out in sector 3. Will that trigger any form of virtual or full course safety car? As everyone now into the pits. And
now,
Gio is going to jump all these guys, and he's going to be effectively in the net race league. Of course, only 2 drivers have stayed out on the intermediates. Of course, being Frankis currently leading the way, and M. Van Lyons, who is currently in P2. Everyone else on a set of the full wet compound tyres now.
Yes, indeed. And like you say, Mike, it gets spicy now. It gets scary and it gets spicy as drivers now exiting the pit lane. And they've got a lot of work to do, especially like Bream, you know, having that having a bit of a spin on the curb in sector 3 near the final couple of corners before the start and finish straight. And did he possibly pick up wing damage at all? Did you catch that? Do you know
yeah, he did.
Oh, did he? Oh, damn. Well, that's really affected his race so far. So he'll probably need a safety car. Someone's actually off the track, and that's Bremer's going around again. He's round again. It's not ideal. But what is ideal is look at Guyton and KGAT. They're fighting as KGAT got an awful entry there on the corners of 8 and 9. And Guyton right on the back here now. Is he possibly looking for a move? Is it going to be possible as Volcano lurking in the background as we see Jackie Boy get up into P13 and Colin demoted down to 14. But those two up ahead really going for it here on lap number 7. into lap number 8 we go very, very shortly. But also Johnny in P4 on those wet compound tyres, as Lions has opted to stay out on the intermediates and seems to be struggling, but still ahead of the... oh my goodness! That's Johnny Round?
Yeah, he just got on the throttle. He just got on the throttle on the curb on the exit of turn 12, and that was enough to send him spearing around. And now the dream of the ORT 1-2 has completely gone out the window. But Gio leading the way. He has around a 3-second gap to Kgat in behind, who's under pressure from Gaiden. And let's not forget, the man in the net P5 right now is Luca for XE Sports. So it's CPI net 2-4, XE Sports net 4-5.
Or it is what's scary for the for this race, and then the next race is Luke gets a speeding penalty for 5 seconds, but has someone has retired on the track, and that's going to be Bream.
Oh, Joe Bream.
He's retired. So he's unfortunately he's had enough on lap number 8 of this France Grand Prix in very treacherous and wet conditions. So it's really unfortunate to see him retire, but hopefully we'll see him for the final round of the season, which will be next week. So we'll see what happens there. But it's a gamble now, because which setups are effective on this track? Because I know some drivers will be going to straight line speed, as we see a bit of a fight actually between Wessel and Casanova. Casanova slightly having to go off the track there. There's a lot of contact going off there, and as I say, that off goes Wessel, and takes his position back once again. And there's more fighting happening left, right and centre on the track. These two still going at it into the you would say flat out right hander in in dry conditions, but in wet conditions you have to do a sort of lift, you could say, and trying to get around the inside there. These two go, still fighting it out, still somehow wheel to wheel, but off the track when Casanova there.
Look at this, Gaiden and Giga and Gio scrapping out, and here comes Gaiden. Good exit out of the final corner for the XE Sportsman, and he has somehow managed to get himself ahead.
Go for the gap.
Giga and oh my god, it's going to be Kgat down the inside of the turn 1, job done for Kgat, the CPI driver, into the net lead of this race. And here comes Gaiden. Gaiden not wasting any time with Gio. He's getting straight through up into the net P2.
Gio has just been swallowed into corners.
Sorry, I was just on board with Volcano. A big lock-up coming into turn 3 there, and he was Tokyo drifting through turn 3. And there was great car control from CPI Volcano there.
Oh. They are pushing so hard, and I'm scared because I don't want them to spin. I don't want them to lose and bottom out the car, but...
Here comes Gaiden. Gaiden.
Yeah, and Volcano in the background as well. Oh!
And Kgat has held on to the net lead. Oh, here comes Gaiden again, around the outside of turn 10. Surely not. Surely not around here. Switch back maybe?
Oh, he's thinking of... Come on. Go on. Nah. Do the move of the season. He's looking up the inside.
Oh, actually.
He's looking for
it. He's got it.
Oh,
stuff between the pair of them there. Kgat still in the race lead though. But I tell you what this is doing. This is obviously backing up Kgat and Gaiden into the Volcano. But also, it's allowing Luca to kind of close up as well.
I'll tell you what, this is giving me a heart attack. How on earth did they not make contact at 11 and 12? That was very close.
Oh, Casanova in the wall.
Oh, is it the wall? Could that be a safety car? It is.
Safety car.
A safety car, lap number 9. Out of 27. A safety car. Now the restart will surely be interesting. That will really help out a lot of drivers coming to the pit lane right now to switch. Is that to wet tyres? And it's actually now switching and taking the gamble to the intermediate tyres. So what a race this is today at France. Let's see what happens. But it's all coming down to the wire now. Heavy rain it looks like still, but they're still opting to go for inters. Is that a risky gamble, would you say, Mike? Would you personally take that in the race, as there's so many puddles on the track?
I mean, the safer tyres to be on right now, in my opinion, is the wet compound tyres. But we saw, what's it called, like the Inters were doing fairly decent in conditions very similar to this just before everyone came into the pits. Obviously, we are going to have to see how this plays out for the likes of Nick and the Johnny Damon. Casanova's coming in and putting another set of fresh wet tyres. Sorry, I said fresh softs then. It's not a condition for fresh softs, but maybe by the end of the race we will get the soft tyres. But honestly, this is played out perfectly for Frankis, because Frankis could technically just come into the pits right now and pop himself out somewhere near the likes of Gio and Luca on a fresh set of tyres.
Yeah, and you're also, another thing you've got to watch out for, Frank hasn't boxed yet. So when he boxes,
he's in.
He's going to be in, and he's going to have the fresher tyres on the grid. So let's see, like you said, did he roughly come out? I think now. Roughly, what would you say? As someone gets a time cut.
Colin.
30 seconds, Colin. Yikes. That is a bit of a yikes, but onto the wet tyres he goes.
Guyton's in. Gio's in. Luca's in. Oh, both of the CPI guys have stayed out.
What? Is that really the right choice to do?
Inter's on Guyton.
Inter's on Guyton? No way. Oh my
Intermediate tyres for ex-esports driver Guyton
my
here.
Goodness.
Inter's going on Luke on the Pisa's car. Inter's going on to Luca's car. Inter's on the Gio's car. Everyone into the pits now, putting on a set of the green wool intermediate tyres. Both CPI drivers have been absolutely hung out to dry here. They are on the wet tyres. Are they the right tyres to be on? Maybe right now, but will they be in around about a lap or two's time when we're back to full racing again? I don't know.
Sure.
But what we're going to see is a varied bit of strategy going on here. X Esports could keep this championship alive due to this kind of strategy.
Can you imagine, right, if we get what happened at Singapore when I said there'll be no rain, it won't be heavy enough, it got heavy enough, we had a simple gamble like this. Could it be they're taking a gamble on the Inter tyre, and when the safety car restarts on lap number 13, 14 or possibly 15, could it be into tyre conditions by then? We don't know. Mike doesn't know. Nobody knows. We'll just see what happens, because this could really, really, really mess over CPI strategy if it comes into interplay soon, because it will just be like what happened at Singapore last Sunday with Red Bull not having a very good car set up and not having, just the best weekend in total. But they started on the hard tyres, and safety got called out, and then in the end they just got swallowed by the whole pack. But we'll see what happens and see if that could be a slight remark, and we'll just see what tyre plays out, shall we say.
Yeah, and of course, in my opinion, the water is clearing on track.
No, it's not. Is it actually?
It looks a lot less puddles compared to where it was a few laps ago.
Oh no! Someone's in the pit lane. Someone's come firing in, and that's going to be Roma.
Yes, Roma.
He's taking off the. He's gone on to the inside, I believe. He's taking the gamble like everyone else is. Saying that though, it does look like you are right. It does look like it's clearing up.
Yeah, the puddles are appearing to disappear on track, which obviously will indicate more intermediate conditions and wet conditions. And Volcano, Kgat, Frankis, Casanova, and of course Gazzano out there on the full wet compound right now.
Is it true for me to say, Mike, that I'm scared? Should I be scared for this restart?
I don't know if you want to be scared for the restart, but me personally, I am kind of happy things are playing out the way that they are right now, because in terms of the standings, I mean, as it currently stands, CPI win the championship, because X Esports are not overturning them in terms of points.
You know what?
X Esports
that is
now,
true.
yeah, X Esports now have the ability to try and overhaul CPI here tonight with this strategy, because obviously KGAT and Volcano, they will have to come into the pits for a set of Inders.
I mean,
The track is getting drier in terms of it being intermediates. It is going that way. As you got Peas and Luca currently trading positions in P6 and 7.
Oh no!
Casanova drive through for falling too far back. And he is on a wet tyre compound as well. So that is probably a nice little indication.
It looks dry. Not dry. It definitely does not look dry on the track right now. But I can't tell. It's like it's switching because I see a lot more puddles on my screen now than I don't. So I don't know what to say. But the safety car is still staying out as well. So it's still staying out on the track, which is a really big gamble.
Volcano's in. Volcano's in.
Oh, okay. What's he going on?
He has to. He has to take the.
He has to take the gamble.
He has to take it. The thing
What's the
is that
calculations right now between XE Sports and CPI. Like what would like gap be
obviously,
like the way it is now?
So CPI have already gained 1 point for the fastest lap. Sorry, for pole position. Gaiden currently has the fastest lap of the race, so that cancels each other out. Obviously, in terms of the gap coming into this race, it was 65 points. Currently, as it stands, XE Sports are picking up 20 plus 14, so that's 34 points that XE Sports are currently picking up. KGAT is leading the way, and of course you got Volcano down in 16th, so that's 30 points that KGAT is picking up right now, and Volcano in 16th is picking up 4 points, so it is actually all tied up right now in terms of the points equally distributed, but KGAT needs to pit.
Do you know something though? And if XE Sports get a 1 and 2, that's big point gains, right? Massive.
Yeah, massive point gains. Because obviously, you have to count into the fact that obviously, Volcano is going to jump up 4 places when these wet tires come into the pit. So he's going to jump up into P12.
Yeah.
KGAT is going to fall down towards 13th. That means Gaiden will take the race lead, so he'll be scoring 30 points, and Luca will be in P4, which is 17 points. So that's 47 points right there. And then it's a case of, can Luca get himself ahead of the likes of Gio and Pease? If he does, then that's a 55-point accumulation, 56 in total with the fastest lap for XE Sports. And of course, we'll have to wait and see what kind of recovery drive the CPI can do. Currently, as it stands, though, they are both scoring an equal amount of points, so CPI is still leading the way and still have one hand on the trophy.
They still do. So let's see what they can perform and what they can do.
It's Inders. It's Inders. Look at this track now. It's Inders. Look at it.
Oh, right then, Mike. I'll hand it over to you. Good luck to your voice and good luck to yourself on this restart. Let's see how chaotic it gets, shall we? Good luck and hand over to you.
KGAT going to be the man to get us going once again. His teammate all the way down in 16th place, having made a big mistake on the strategy here as we get going once again to begin lap number 14 in this race as KGAT leads the way ahead of Frankus in second place, Gaiden in third. Now look at the grip that Gaiden will have through turns 1 and 2 alone. He's already gained well over 2 tenths as Gaiden closing up now. He'll continue to close up through 3 and 4. He's pulling away from Gio under pressure from Pease and Luca in behind. Remember, Luca, if he gets himself ahead of both Pease and Gio, will be in a net P2 in this race. And there are certain parts of the track where there are puddles. Look at that as Gio gets all out of shape. That's Pease through, and here comes Luca through now up into P5 in this race. Yellow flag in the background, and that is Nick around.
Damn. That is not what you need. Someone having a bit of a spin, bit of a moment as Casanova up into P12 and a bit of a spicy battle with Casanova. And it's going to be Lions as well. So, Hang on a minute. Mike, it looks like Inter's. It looks like the Inter tyre. So, let's have a look-see and see then what's happening. And that's your tyre graph, really. There's only 1, 2, 3, 4 drivers on the wet tyres and multiple positions and gains happening. Literally.
Colin sending one down the inside of Casanova there into turn 12. Sorry to cut in.
That's
They're still side by side heading into 13 and now into 14. Colin, will he keep his nose in? No, he backs out of it. Volcano gets through on Gazzano, who is around the outside for the final corner, and it is 2 by 2 like Noah's Ark here, and it is appropriate in these conditions because it is pouring out there.
It is indeed. So far, it's like it's 50-50, like you say. It's inches on one part of the track, then it's not inches on the part of the track. So I'm just planning out to see what happens. But so far, Guyton doing a very good job there of staying with the top 2. And Pease is slowly starting to come back. Oh, hello, Volcano. Oh, he's gonna. Oh, I thought he was gonna go for it there. I thought he was gonna send it. He had a look, and I thought he was gonna send it, but he's making his way up the grid very, very slowly, as he's doing. You know, 1 car at a time. And let's see how he gets on as all. Colin, a bit of a slide there, but as we go to turns number 7 now, down to turns 9 and 8, the battery is switched on for the pair, not the pair of them, only for one, which is going to be Volcano. He's going to look up the inside actually. Oh my
god! And I'm not sure how I feel.
That was slight aggression. Slight aggression.
I mean, it was outbreaking, then it was
yeah.
coming back over to squeeze Colin and onto the curb, and I'm not sure how I feel about that one. That was a bit sneaky, in my opinion. Unless it was obviously a bit of a lockup. But
I mean, on my screen, look at a bit of a lockup. Oh, you almost collected Lions there for P11. As Lions gets a massive moment then. Volcano again, all having a bit of a moment, but he will look up the, you could say, the inside there and takes P11 for now. And is he looking to get PA10 done and dusted as Casanova having lots and lots of moments on the track, and maybe go for the switchback of Casanova. As
Casanova, that is not a correct pit lane entry there for Casanova.
No, it's not. It's a little bit naughty there, so that might be under investigation as well. And hang on a minute, look at Guyton in P3. He's on the back of Kgat here. This could be something. This could be something interesting. And Reservoir, hello, how you doing, buddy? And you catch us right now on lap number 16, a very intense and close race, shall I say, by all the cars on the grid. But it's looking interesting, it's looking intense. But P3 right now, and someone's round. Who is it? It's going to be Nick once again. Imagine if we get a late safety car, because that rain is starting to slowly calm down ever so often. Here goes. Yeah, here we go. Kgat and Guyton. Oh, Kgat looks like he's struggling, doesn't he?
Yeah, it is intermediate, and you can see the rain. The rain is getting a little bit less and less, and Kgat needs to use battery to stay with Guyton here. And now it's going to be an interesting dynamic, because we're going to see Guyton now begin to close up on Frankish here.
Yeah, and it's definitely Inters now. I can definitely tell you that now, because the rain has definitely backed off. So maybe the wet runners right now, there's only 4 drivers on the wets. Maybe they are regretting their decisions, shall we say.
Maybe so, as Casanova retires from the race. It's another safety car. They have been saved. Kgat is immediately into the pits. Actually, no, sorry, not Kgat. That's Pease. That's Pease into the pits.
Kgat missed the pit entry. It was too late for him. Oh, no. What'd you say to that? What'd you say to that?
Well, I mean, that was a very interesting one right there, because now Pease has come out on fresh Indus. He's going to drop well down the order. Obviously, Volcano's now in P9.
Oh, of course he is, yeah. Never mind, ignore me.
If I'm Guyton and Luca, do you risk staying out?
No. I say come in. Oh no, if you're Luca, I'd say stay out. But if you're Guyton, I don't know.
Because essentially, if you pit, you're going to be coming out. I mean, Guyton's going to have to come out in P2 regardless. K-Gat will be in P3. Obviously, this is one of the benefits in terms of the what's called the multiplayer cars, is that in terms of the garage, Luca and Guyton do not share a garage, so they could come into the pits at the same time and be perfectly fine, for all we know. K-Gat and Guyton could share a garage, which could absolutely do over Guyton, but of course Francis and Guyton could share a garage. That's one thing that we're going to have to find out now, as we are on lap 17 of 27. Francis on a set of wet tyres, so is K-Gat, so is Gazzano. They are obviously going to be making the switch over to the intermediates now.
Gotta be.
Pease is, of course, on a set of intermediates, fresh intermediates, and will take the lead of the race if everyone does come into the pits right now. However, if I'm Guyton and Luca, I'm probably not pitting you. I'm staying out.
No, I think they can go to the end of those races on the tyres, but it'll be very, very marginal. I don't know,
well,
BJ. It's getting interesting, isn't it, Mike? What are they going to do?
If I'm these guys, I am staying out because Francis and K-Gat have to pit. And so is K-Gat.
Yeah, they're staying out.
Good. Like, XE Sports here, I
Hang on
think
a minute.
doing the not thing.
Look at P10. That's all I'm going to say. Look at P10. Oh. And Luca's retired as well. Not sure why they've retired. They've probably had enough for today, potentially.
Yep.
Gaz, now in P8, is still on those wet tyres. This could be a this could be a crazy ending towards the end of this race for constructor-wise for all teams. You know that, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. And would everyone like a little bit of the points gain right now?
Yeah.
56 points are currently going towards the XE Sports team in these current positions. And of course, 13 plus 7, so 21 points going to CPI as it currently stands. So 56 to 21, sorry. So that is a 35-point gain. And in terms of the standings, 35 would put CPI only 30 points ahead of XE Sports if it stays exactly as it is right now.
Really?
Yes.
That's just so intense. The safety car's going to be coming in towards the end of this lap. So now we're going to get an idea, and we're going to get a feel and an idea of who's making what decision on the track.
Obviously, you got K-Gat down in 13th. He's going to be trying to make his way up the order. Volcano in 7th. He's going to be trying to make his way up the order. A lot of cars in between them and the XE Sports pairing. Of course, XE Sports need to outscore CPI by, I believe, what was it, 9 points now to keep the championship alive?
Yes.
And if they can stick in these positions right now, and CPI, Volcano, and K-Gat are unable to make their way through, then we will see the gap close by 30 points. To 30 points going into the final round, which is doable for XE Sports here. But we are back underway. Once again, Guyton looks like he's getting everyone going. There's yellow flags in the back, and that is Gazzano around, which of course promotes K-Gat at the spot, which is exactly what he wants. He wants people to make mistakes so he doesn't have to waste time overtaking. But we are back racing once again. That's Wessel looking down the inside of Gio for P3 in this race into turn 1. They go side by side, and Gio holds on. The Johnny Damon right now for ORT in P5. It's an ORT 3-5.
It is, and that's a very good result so far. And, oh, they're still going to a Volcano. He's thinking about it. Oh. A bit of contact there. Slight contact between the two of them. But that was nice and clean, I'll tell you that now. But it's all going on. It's just, there's so much to keep up with.
Look at Pease on the back of Matthias Roma, and he's not too far behind Volcano. Could we see Pease come into this?
He's thinking about it. He's going to look at the inside. Number 9. Gets the move done and up into P8. And could he get the move done for Volcano as well? Is he close enough?
It's Jackie Boy next.
Oh, sure, yeah, it's Jackie Boy.
K-Gat's already up in
K-Gat, yeah.
10th as well.
Fastest Sector 2, apparently, according to the game.
Oh, Peas down the inside of Jackie Boy. Job done for Peas. And now we can get onto the back of Volcano.
Let's keep our eyes peeled. Oh, he's getting intense in it towards the end of this race. As Volcano is right on the rear wing almost of Johnny, who's in P5 at the moment. Oh, he's getting close. Is he? Oh, he was looking. Volcano wasn't. I might compromise. It has. Here comes Peas. As Guyton a 141.6, the fastest lap so far around this track on the inside. But never mind,
Peas.
Peas.
Just improved it. And now K-Gat's improved it.
Oh, here goes Peas on Volcano.
Oh, contact between the pair of them.
And this is really holding up these two here fighting out, and that will really help out K-Gat, who gets up into P8 and past Jackie Boy, and now has to get past two drivers ahead. What's going to happen? It's 7 laps remaining in this crazy race. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, and now we're going to see if Peas can get this move done on Volcano, and if Volcano can get through on the Johnny Damon.
It's going to be free
ORT,
wide.
CPI, Relentless.
Oh.
And look at this, Peas. He's in the middle of the pair run. No, he backs out a bit smart there. And a little bit of contact with Damon.
Keep an eye on K-Gat. Here he comes.
Contact though. No contact. K-Gat's going into the back of Damon.
Oh no, that could be a penalty or something along the lines of that, and along the way potentially. But we'll keep an eye on that and see what happens later on in the Discord and stuff like that. But unfortunate for Damon to get involved, a bit of contact, and that's now K-Gat up into P7, P's into P6, Volcano into P5, and Geo in P3 on 9-lap-old Inter tyres, same with the top 2 there. So that could be a bit of pressure coming Gio's way, and maybe losing a position or two as we go to lap number 21 of this race.
Yeah, absolutely. And Peas with a penalty to his name as well. Honestly, I'm not entirely sure what to make of that, as we see Volcano drive off track there through turn 2. Potentially a warning picked up for the CPI driver, and a 3-second warning would be heartbreaking for either Volcano or K-Gat. Yeah.
K-Gat is right on the rear wing of Peas here. And could he get into P6, do you think, Mike? Is it possible with the way he's driving right now?
Yeah, I think we're going to see a little bit of CPI teamwork going on to get K-Gat ahead. And look at this, yeah, here comes K-Gat trying to use the slipstream on Volcano, and Peas there cutting it out. So good going there for Peas to try and break the teamwork going on there. But what an exit there for K-Gat. And now this will be job done, as Volcano's going to move over to try and block off Peas. Peas is going to go around the outside of Volcano as they go free wide.
There's contact between the two.
There's contact between CPI drivers.
I thought they were going round for a second. I literally thought they were going round. That was very, very scary. Oh, close as well. Holy baloney. Look at K-Gat though, he's right on the rear ring here of Peas and could get up into P4 or P5, sorry. He's going to try it on the exit of 15. And he gets it done. No. They're still going at it wheel to wheel now. And Peas still stays ahead, which is crazy. These two really going at it, which could really mess over their strategy and bits and bobs like that.
Oh, here's the thing for Peas. I mean, in terms of the team championship right now, obviously, I mean, Relentless losing their driver here. I mean, pretty much all hopes of them getting back to second basically relies on mistakes from the guys up ahead, like that one there from Dust Wessel. who makes a big mistake, but he will rejoin
Oh, it again.
ahead of Volcano, who loses the back end. And look at Francis! Francis on Volcano! Gonna get
Oh my
this move
goodness.
done. Up P7
does.
goes Francis.
And guess what? It stopped raining. It stopped raining on the track on lap 22.
Yeah,
Couldn't
it
see the
has.
dry
It has
tyres.
completely. It has stopped raining here. Lap 22 or 27. And we could be seeing more strategy coming into play here as the track will continue to dry. How quickly will it dry out though? That is the question. As the Johnny Damon has left the session, unfortunately lagging out of the session is the Johnny Damon. He is down in 14th place, and I will try to get him back into the lobby just to make sure that he does see the checker flag. But
You know, very good sportsmanship right there, even though we're not racing. You know, it's always good to help out a driver, you know, if they can't get back in. So, yes, we'll try and get them in if we can, fingers crossed. But what an absolute fantastic and thrilling race we're having today.
P's on
like-
Gio.
Oh, he's got it done. P's up to P3, Joe into P4. Here comes K-Gat. Could he take P4? Westside back in the fight. The track seems to be drying as well. I do see a slight dry line forming. And here goes K-Gat. He's going to try it. Late braking. Oh.
Oh, 3 seconds for
about.
K-Gat.
Oh. No, that's completely confuffled his race now. Ever so slightly. What is going on? Left,
Gio
right, and
getting a little bit
centre.
out of shape. And now look at this. Look at Francis. Francis in the rear, in the slipstream, underneath the rear ring of Das Wessel here for P6. 2 cars up ahead, battling P's and K-Gat side by side into the chicane.
There's contact, I
and
think.
they just make it. And look at that. P's going for a switchback. He'll have the better exit though, but will K-Gat have the better straight line speed? K-Gat now going to cover the inside.
Peter's
Here
coming.
goes P. He's going to try
He's gonna go around the outside.
Here we go.
Oh.
Oh, is he going to make this work?
Oh, he's still with him. DRS is enabled. The track is drying, it seems. Could this mean big things?
Oh, and look at
for
that!
pit
There's
stop?
Wessel down the inside of Gio in behind as well. The battle for P5 heating up. Francis in the back of that as well. As these guys are going to have to make a decision now. Do they pit for a set of dry tyres?
They've got to come
Gaiden
in.
is in. Luca
They've got to
is
come
in.
in.
K-Gat stays out.
That's a risky gamble from K-Gat there. If it's us a dry, because look at the track. Does it look dry to you, Mike? Or is it still slightly wet on
It's-
track?
It's slightly wet on track, but I think the dry tyres are going to work. And with the fastest lap of the race, K-Gat has just picked that up. Soft tyres going on to everyone's car right now.
Oh my goodness.
And with that, oh my god, it's bone dry now in sector 1. Go on
No
board
way.
with K-Gat.
It
is
is.
bone dry.
Right, where's the
Volcano's
dry
for
tyres?
mediums.
Oh, I'm scared. I am very scared right now. I don't know what's going to happen, Mike. I've got literally no clue.
Oh my god, it has absolutely come
It's thrown a
unglued
spanner in the
towards
works,
the end of
hasn't it?
this race.
Spanner
Right.
in the works.
20 seconds, the gap between K-Gat and Gaiden here as they've exited the pits. Let us see how much they gain on this lap because it is a bone dry track out there. Look at the middle sector right now as you see Francis getting through on Gio. It is dry. These tyres are going to overheat and they will puncture. Let's not make any two ways about it. They will puncture if they overheat to such an extent.
So, a lot of drivers on the soft tyres, shall we say, and only one on the medium compound tyre. But, big question is K-Gat going to stay out and try and take the win?
He has to. He can't. If he comes into the pits now, that's a big mistake, and yet he stays out.
Stays out.
So does Francis. They're going to try and go to the end. Dry track, wet tyres. So it is going to be similar to what we had in Singapore last week. But it looks like the conditions are much more apparent right now for the soft
They're
tyres.
pushing now.
The gap between Gaiden and K-Gat is now 16 seconds, and it could be under 16 seconds as we come towards the line now. Yeah, 15.9. So remember, it was 20 seconds as it started, and oh my god, that is a new fastest lap. And
Here goes
bearing in
Volcano on
mind,
Wessel. Sorry to cut you off there, but he goes to P9 into turn 1, but
Oh,
Wessel will
Wessel.
try the switch back. Oh, he gets it done.
what a move!
Look at Volcano.
And again, whistle. Switch back.
Volcano's got it done for now, but K-Gat's got a lot of work to do, but I think Guyton, he's on a charge, isn't he? He's on a mighty charge. It is completely bone dry.
Yeah, I was about to say also what you gotta remember is K-Gat has that 3-second time penalty.
True.
Oh my god, here we go, Guyton. He's going to try and get through both of the intermediate cars by
It's a bit risky though. He's got to go. Wow.
Look at what grip he has, and same with Luca as well.
Look at Luca now getting through on these two up ahead, or behind, you could say now. What a thrilling end to this race it must come down to. If K-Gat
11.1
on these tyres, it'd be insane. I'm sorry, but it'd be insane. Gap to the leader,
well,
what we want now. Gap to the leader.
We got two laps to go now. The gap 9.9 seconds. Guyton and Luca are flying. Pease is flying as well. Volcano currently down in P9. And as it currently stands, K-Gat will drop to third in this race because that 3-second will drop him behind Gio. And Guyton and Luca, I think, are going to catch on this lap. They're going to catch Gio because they've been closing in by around 5 seconds a lap.
They are. There's no way. I think they're going to get the job done on the last lap as Wessel gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings, which isn't ideal. And that'll probably drop him a few places. But lap 26 out of 27 now. These guys on the soft tyres are dramatically, and I mean dramatically, catching every single second as it's literally bone dry on the track. Hot weather at France. Those tyres, like you said, overheating, and they'll be struggling to brake on the corners. Just look at this, though. Look at these drivers on the dry tyres. They are catching. This could be a thrilling end to the race, but maybe for CPI, maybe not, but we'll find out what happens. But look, like you said, Mike, they are catching, and here comes Guyton for P3 now. Here he is. He's arrived on scene. Here is the man in P4. Can he get into P1? What do you think for X Esports? Do you think he can do it? Do you think he can challenge K-Gat?
Absolutely. Absolutely, because he's going to close up massively now through turns 1 and 2 on Gio. He's going to get through on Gio on the exit right here. Absolute superior grip. And he's already within that time penalty. He's going to get through, and so's Luca as well. Down the inside, he'll get through on Gio. And now, look at Guyton. He's going to get through on Francis as well.
Struggling. They're like sitting ducks now, aren't they? They're literally like sitting ducks. Where's Pease? There's Pease. Oh, Pease isn't getting in the mix. Well, there's Volcano as well getting in the mix on the medium tyres. But he doesn't have a time penalty, so that's really, really good for him so far. Now here comes Guyton.
1 second. 1 second, the gap between these two. I'm sorry. Hey, I'm sorry, mate, but you've had a valiant effort. There is, in my opinion, no chance. A Volcano pick up a penalty.
Oh, heartbreak at the final lap of this race, Volcano.
And here comes Guyton.
Here he comes.
Guyton down the inside. And here comes Luca.
Now it's Pease. Can Pease get it done? Can Pease get it done on track? Look how close he is. On the limit of pushing right now. On the limit of getting P3. Even though he's got a time penalty. Can he get it done? Can he get it done, Mike?
Into the final corner. He's going to have to look for a lunge here. And look how much grip he's got. He's going to have a look down the inside. Into the final corner. Here goes Pease. Down the inside. Job done. K-Gat drops the P4, which will drop him down towards. Luca takes win ahead of Guyton. And now Francis will join him on the podium, to my knowledge, with the time penalties. And yes, Francis does do that. Pease comes on P4, K-Gat in P5, Gio in P6, ahead of Volcano in 7th. That's Wessel in 8th. And now allow me to quickly go ahead once again and do some mathematics right here. So,
and just remember as well, when we do these mathematics, they are provisional results. So there could still be penalties to be handed out for drivers. So they could be changing, but this is the provisional results for now. That's all we're going to say. because it could change. So, Mike, over to you.
Yeah, so as it currently stands, it is a 29-point game here tonight in the race for CPI, and it is a 55-point gain for what's called X Esports. So the championship will go on to the final round, and I believe it is a 26-point gain in the standings for X Esports provisionally, which puts them. Hang on now. Here we go. Mathematics with I've been right here now. Right, so 6 will put them on 43, 63. 39 points a gap going into the final race between X Esports and CPI provisionally as it currently stands.
That's crazy. So the last race, the last round of this season is down to the wire once again. X Esports could steal and become back-to-back winners, but we'll have to see what happens. Let's see if they can get back-to-back wins. With season 1 they got the win, season 2 they could get the win once again. But are you ready, Mike, for next week, the final round? Are you ready for a stellar performance from these drivers?
I am ready, and of course I'll run you through the order as the timer has just popped up once again. So it is Luca and Gaitan taking a 1-2 finish for X Esports in P1, P2. Frankis for NLR joins them on the podium. Peas with the fastest lap in P4 with Kgat in P5. Geo, great result for ORT in P6 with Volcano in 7th. Das Wessel in 8th. Nick in 9th. V-Man in 10th. Obviously Matthias Roma in 11th. Jackie Boy in 12th. Colin Armisen 13th, Gazino in 14th, the Johnny Damon in 15th, and of course our DNFers were Luke Casanova and of course Yul Bream. So 3 guys not seeing the checker flags, unfortunate for them, but what it does mean is that we will be going to the final race of the season with the championship on the line. Potentially as well. I mean, we saw the contact between the Johnny Damon and Kgat. Would that get reported? Would that lose Kgat positions? We saw the incident between himself and Volcano and Colin Mason. We moved back over into the braking zone. Would that get looked at? Will he lose points there? So the gap could be closing in, but at the same time, regardless, it's an X Esport 1-2, and they continue their fine form in the closing stages of this championship.
Yes, they do indeed. That's what I'm excited for. So we'll see what happens next week. As we'll quickly pop over to the calendar then. So as I always say and do, we can now tick off the lovely Track of France. We had a wonderful time there today. That was absolutely spectacular to watch and really, really enjoyable. But then next week, the final round of Season 2, Belgium, to find the winner for this season. Could it be CPI or could it be back-to-back for X Esports? Currently Constructor Championship team winners in Season 1. Could they make it to Season 2? We'll have to find out and see. That'll be very exciting down to the wire. But Mike, the big question is, shall we get to the second big announcement that we were waiting to do at the beginning of the stream? Shall we talk about that maybe?
I think there's no better time to talk about that than...
Did you want to go ahead and talk about what it is whilst I get up on the screen? Bits and bobs like that?
I mean... yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I just want to tease them a little bit more, you know what I mean? Just want to tease them a little bit, you know, everyone in chat. But of course, guys, sign-ups are open right now for Season 3 in Velocity's Ultimate Masters Team Racing League. And my God, it's about to get even better. As you see, 2 tiers, a no assist tier, and of course a line only tier. Some fantastic prizes up for grabs. And should I confirm? Should I confirm the other thing? Should I confirm this?
You know what? Go on then. Go on. Why not? Go on.
To my knowledge, unless anything changes drastically, I will be back. And I believe the man joining me in the commentary box, of course, Flynn should be back as well.
Yes, indeed. And so me and Mike have both said, you know what, we'll stick around and we'll stay for season 3. So we'll see what happens in the future of season 3 and what happens with, you know, I've seen a few sign-ups in the channel here and there, which is quite interesting and quite exciting. Obviously, new drivers and new teams we are seeing. And what's exciting, Mike, is 2 divisions, you know? Obviously, the total prize pool, that's a crazy hefty amount in Division 1, no assist here. And then you've got Division 2, which is line only, but still, you know, getting a little bit of pocket, like, you know, like a little bit of pocket money, you could say. But that is phenomenal. But, you know, back for next season with you in the commentary box, I am very, very, very excited. What about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. And if the championship goes down to the wire as what we're seeing this season, then, you know, we are in for an absolute treat in season 3. But absolutely incredible race out there tonight. X Esports keeping the championship alive, and we go to the final round of the season as we head to
The lovely track of
circuit.
Spa.
The Spa of Francorchamps, and what a way to end the season as well.
Indeed.
Rouge, Radion, the Camel Straight,
I can't wait for that. I'm excited.
Lecombe, Pouon, Stavilo, Campos, Bus Stop Chicane, and what we are going to see out there is a lot of overtaking opportunities and a lot of great battling out there.
Yes, indeed. And Senna, we hope you'll be there, because trust me, to end off the final bang of the season, it's going to be crazy. There's going to be a lot of content to keep up with. But Mike, that pretty much, would you say, wraps things up for today, would you say?
Absolutely.
So, from me, Mr. Flynn, I am signing off. I am done just for tonight. And from Mike,
we shall catch you next week for the season finale at Belgium. Until then, guys, good night.
Yes, good night indeed, guys. And we'll catch you next week. But from me, Mr. Mike, and me, myself, Mr. Flynn, it's an absolute banger. And peace. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Wrapped around your soul with no control.